Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we are going to be talking about the Edmonton Oilers versus the LA Kings, the matchup that just never disappoints to watch, but seems like they're going to be telling a different story this year after the LA Kings have lost and have been bowing down to their masters at this point, the Edmonton Oilers up in Canada, their rivals in the North. But I think things are going to be a little bit different this season, as they have lost every single one of the last 3 years to them, and exponentially losing worse in those series as well. But this year, I think most people, including myself, are agreeing that this year is going to be a little bit different. But we're going to go all into depth about that. But first, if you like me and you want to see more of me and more of these kind of videos and stay up to date with the best YouTube channel about hockey on the internet, you should subscribe. It would just be pretty nice, and I'd like it. Anyways, do that, and let's actually talk about it. So, the Edmonton Oilers have been owning the ass of the LA Kings for the last 3 years, but this year things are pretty different looking, right? Right now, they're third in the Pacific, which usually the Oilers, I believe the last three of those matchups, the Oilers have been the higher seed going into the playoffs. But this year, third is the Edmonton Oilers, and second in the Pacific Division is the LA Kings. And they're currently apart by like 2 points, but the Kings have have 3 games left. The Oilers have 2. They play against each other tonight. And the Oilers are looking a little bit banged up right now and being held out of this game. Some of their top-end players, some of these pretty important numbered players. So I feel like the Kings are probably going to sneak out this win, which means the Oilers have 1 game left and will not be able to get that home ice advantage. So already starting off good for the LA Kings. And this season, they are already 2-1 against the Oilers this year. And I believe the first game they played against each other, the Kings won 4-3, and then the Oilers won 1-0 in their second matchup. But recently they played, and the Kings won 3-0. So an interesting tight series, but it feels like a little bit more of the Kings' advantage, and I think we're going to see a 3-1 advantage tonight. But the last 3 years, though, the advantage goes the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, 4-3 win in 2022, 4-2 in 23, and 4-1 last year, which then the Edmonton Oilers went on to play in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Panthers. But if you've watched this channel, and I know one of you out there especially knows this, is that I believe that the Edmonton Oilers are one of the luckiest, most fraudulent teams that the IRS really needs to look into because of how fraudulent they are. They are the biggest fraud contenders in the entire NHL. Everyone who is betting, all the odds makers making them the highest up there right behind like the Stars is robbing you of your money, or there is a lot of really stupid people out there. Because if any team, before all of the injuries have been popping up, if you believe the Oilers are the best team in the West, you are nuts. Best team in the NHL to win the Stanley Cup, you are absolutely bananas. Because this team, especially looking at them currently, before these injuries that I'll talk about in a second, you are insane. Last year, they lost to the Florida Panthers. They already were lucky to get there. They had a good first round against the LA Kings, who looked piss poor last season in the first round, and rightfully beat them 4-1. They play against the Vancouver Canucks, who had no right being in the playoffs really at all. They also were big frauds, and they got ran over as they should. They play against the Stars, where the Stars had to play the Avalanche and the Golden Knights, banged up to hell, had no energy left, and couldn't stand against McDavid and Draisaitl. And then they made it to the finals, where they were almost just swept outright, but they hung on just a little bit and then lost. And what did the Oilers do this offseason? Nothing to fix anything. And now we are here on April 14th, and the Oilers have their best defenseman out and will probably miss at least most of the playoffs if they make it that far, which I don't think they're going to. Matthias Ekholm will be out. The only reason Evan Bouchard is good is because of this guy, and he's out for, I believe, the entire first round at least. Then 97 and number 29 and number 18, of course, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman, respectively. They are all banged up to hell, and they also will be held out of lineup tonight. And they are really hurt. They've been hurt a lot recently, and they're going to be starting off this series pretty banged up going into it already. And usually, you know, the playoffs, everyone gets banged up through it, but you start kind of fresh. You want to hold out fresh like the Panthers, like the Golden Knights do, like how every team does. But, like, you hear the stories when the playoffs are over, and it's like, oh, Matthew Tkachuk's whole rib cage was broken. and he still played through it, right? But that happens throughout the playoffs, right? They're going into it already messed up. And against the LA Kings, a team who has bloodthirst ready for the LA Kings, for the Edmonton Oilers, but the Kings are also a huge shutdown team who will beat you up between Kopitar and Byfield and Gavrikov and Drew Doughty. They are going to be killing and looking for any head that they can chop off on the Edmonton Oilers. And once you get past that, I think the goal scoring, the offense, which is all the Edmonton Oilers are, they are a huge glass cannon, and they are all out of cannonballs to shoot at this point with all the injuries and no defense and goaltending to back it up. I think the LA Kings are going to have a fun time playing with this team and getting their revenge that they are due in this series. Because this isn't the same matchup, folks, right? Byfield has become a true star. This team has Fiala is lit up. Kempe is lit up. They finally found a little bit of an offensive machine where they got lines that they can roll out there. Between Fiala and Kempe who can score a goal a game. You get the backup of Byfield who can probably score a goal a game. Kopitar who can at least get like an assist or two. Maybe even every game. I know that's a bit of a weird thing to say, but you get to LaFerriere, right? You go down the lineup defensively. They got guys like Brant Clark who could do something pretty insane if the time is needed, right? But behind all of that is Darcy freaking Kuemper, LA Kings legend at this point. This guy shuts down every puck he sees. He's been one of the most consistent, most underrated goaltenders in the NHL. And I know people have been praising him, but I feel like he hasn't gotten enough praise. He's behind Hellebuck I think Kemper's actually like number 1 in almost every stat. If he isn't, he's number 2 or whatever. But he's played such good hockey against a lesser team in the LA Kings versus the Winnipeg Jets. And I think Darcy Kuemper, you saw him play that series for Arizona versus Colorado. He stood on his head. Kuemper is a goaltender who will fly and lunge and do whatever the hell it takes to shut down the other team. In a season like this where they've already got the shutdown defenseman in front of them, if the time is needed for him to make a save, he can do it. He's done it this entire year. And in the playoffs when he's finally got... he's only got so much time left in the NHL to become stay consistent and win some actual glory. Not even win the Stanley Cup, but just make a name for himself at the playoffs. This is finally that year that he's got a chance. Against Stuart fucking Skinner. The biggest plug in the NHL. Stuart Skinner, the most overrated, and I don't think people rate him anymore that highly, but for years, he was a freaking NHL All-Star at one point. I don't get it. He's never been good. He's average at best, and his stupid-ass mustache can go to hell. So can the rest of the Oilers. Their defense sucks, their goaltending sucks, and their 2 best players, which is the only reason that they actually made it anywhere in the playoffs last year, are going into this playoff with one working limb at this point, right? And the Drew Doughty will happily chop off the last one, right? This series, to me, is one of the easiest to go through and look at. I think the Oilers have almost nothing that makes me think that they could win this series at all. And I'm sure at this point you've already figured out who I'm going to pick to win this. But I'm going to say that the LA Kings win this series in 5 games. And that is my call. I think they win it in 5 games, so they'll win it back in LA, and the fans in LA will go crazy. The Edmonton fans in the crowd will probably be very sad and leave being chanted all around that the LA Kings won and Edmonton sucks, and they will all rightfully be sad because they are the biggest frauds in the NHL. So that is my prediction, the LA Kings in 5, and that is the easiest thing I think I could probably say. Most series, I actually have to think about it, but this series is a completely different one, right? Like a series like Hurricanes and the Devils, which will probably be my next video. That one, I actually have to think about and go through it. But this is a different series. This is blood. This is vengeance. This is revenge. This is dominance. This is seeking. This is a different series in its whole. And I think they got a history, but this year history is going to get flipped on its head. And that is my prediction. So that is all I got to say. If you like this video, please subscribe. If you disagree with me, comment down below and tell me why I'm an idiot. And other than that, thank you for watching this. Too sweet. I hope you have an amazing day. And ta-ta for now.